Federal lawmakers threaten to impeach President Buhari should he fail to find solutions to the security crisis in the country. I'm Linda Akibe, and you're welcome to the Gavel. Federal legislators in the Senate on Wednesday gave a clear ultimatum to President Buhari: solve the numerous security challenges in the country in 6 weeks or risk being impeached. The People's Democratic Party caucus of the House of Representatives has also backed their colleagues in the Senate over the call for the impeachment of President Buhari. Nigeria has been in the grip of attacks by terrorists and criminals. Communities are attacked and people killed or abducted in their homes, farms, on major roads, and this is not limited to one part of the country. The presidency quickly responded to the impeachment threats by federal lawmakers, describing it as ridiculous.
Banner, please. All comrades behind the banner. Go behind leadership, please. Please, behind the...
It was a week of ultimatums in the National Assembly. Firstly, the Nigeria Labour Congress led a protest to the National Assembly in solidarity with members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities ASUU, who have downed tools for 5 months over the failure of the federal government to fulfill agreements reached. This impasse between the federal government and ASUU has led to the closure of government tertiary institutions for 5 months, denying students of critical education.
Is it true that Nigerian students have been at home for the past 5 months? The obvious answer is yes. Is it a serious issue? Does it call for action? Have NLC not mediated behind the scene? Have NLC not tried to resolve the issue? That is the issue. So basically, it's about diverting our attention. Nigerian workers cannot be divided. The attention cannot be diverted. And basically, we remain focused. And basically, it's a very serious issue. My children, 2 children, are in the public universities, if you are not aware. So I'm personally affected, as many parents. So this is a very serious national issue. We are destroying the future of our younger generation. We are destroying the future of our youth. We are destroying the future of the future leaders of this country. Is that acceptable? It's not acceptable. That is part of our decision. You will be communicated appropriately. We have already given timeline. Once that timeline expires, we will communicate to you that we are now rolling out the next line of action.
Inside the Senate chamber, another crisis brews.
We have discussed the issues as they relate to security in the country and all the issues around it. And we had also discussed that we're going to come back to plenary to discuss the efforts that have been made so far on the issues of security in the country. After which we will give an ultimatum to the president that he resolves this issue, otherwise we give an impeachment notice.
When you are going to come under your point of order, first, you are supposed to cite the order. Second, you are supposed to discuss with me what you are going to discuss. You didn't. Thirdly, I read the progress report. Thirdly, when I read it, when some of our colleagues were still not listening. Thirdly, we have already passed that stage. Look at where we are today. So, just hold on, please. So, at this moment, that point of order, I don't know what it is, but falls flat on its face.
Disappointed with the Senate president's stance, opposition senators staged a walkout.
National Center for Women Development Act Amendment Bill 2022, SB 1042, first reading.
National Center for Women Development Act Amendment Bill 2022, SB 1042, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
They assemble at the press center to brief journalists.
We also took into cognizance the fact that the Senate had at various levels, at various times, convened various security meetings, various security issues were discussed, and we did recommend to government various steps and measures aimed at curbing these issues of insecurity. We realized that even Abuja that we are in is no more safe, and all of you will agree with us. And so at the closed session, we agreed that we will give the president an ultimatum that failing which, if it is not complied with, will move immediately to give an impeachment notice. And this we agreed at the executive session, at closed door session. So when we came out of the closed door session, we expected that the Senate President will brief the public on the issues that have happened, but however, that did not happen. So we have come here in protest to brief you and to let you know that we're with Nigerians in this struggle and that we're worried that nowhere is safe in Nigeria.
How soon will you formalize your impeachment threat against the president?
Well, we have given 2 months notice within which 6 weeks. Within 6 weeks precisely, within which this security issues should really be resolved. Even if it is, all our resolutions should also be implemented.
Back inside the Senate Press Center, plenary continues. Senate President Ahmed Lawan speaks on the security crisis in the country.
I believe that the security of this country can be better when our security agencies perform their functions and also when citizens also support the security agencies. Sources of intelligence and information are normally through citizens. Citizens must volunteer information, valid and valuable information, to our security agencies about anything that they are not too sure about, suspicious movements. Like in common parlance in Nigeria, if you see something, say something. As for our security agencies, they must work together. There have been a lot of allegations recently that intelligence information were given prior to attacks, were given to other security agencies to be ready to prevent. There is need to investigate such allegations, and those that are found wanting should be prosecuted, because we must set examples, we must reward those who do well, and of course sanction those who fail to perform their functions.
The following day, the minority caucus of the House of Representatives joined their colleagues in the Senate in giving a 6-week ultimatum to the president to improve the security situation in the country or be served an impeachment notice. The House Minority Leader, Ndudi Elumelu, stated this at the end of a closed-door meeting with the Minority Caucus of the Senate. Representative Elumelu says this time signatures will be gathered to impeach the president if the security situation is not addressed. He also draws attention to the general state of a nation, including the exchange rate and aviation crisis.
Colleagues in the Senate had to walk out in protest as to the state of the nation, as it relates to issue of insecurity in the nation. And concurrently, even though we did not do it exactly the way they did it, we also drew the House attention as to what is happening in Nigeria, but most importantly in FCT. In FCT, just a few weeks back, Kuje prison was invaded. Few days back, of course, on Law School, Buhari Road, some very, very important Nigerians who are their youth in the armed forces were butchered by the insurgents. And as if that was not enough, the Minister of Education gave an instruction that all our children should leave, vacate their various schools. Yesterday, the FCT minister directed that all private schools should be closed. And I gave a warning on the floor of the House, advising my colleagues that Abuja is no longer safe. And that is the truth. If Abuja is safe, why should Minister of Education, under APC-led government instruct that every child in every college of school should leave and vacate, and parents should come and collect their children, why should the FCT minister himself direct that private schools should be closed? This, in effect, gives a signal that Abuja is not safe. And of course, we critically looked at the reason why our colleagues are calling for an impeachment notice to be put forward to Mr. President for his APC-led government inability to protect life and property. Our founding fathers created this nation for the purpose of ensuring that nobody will suffer in this country. But today, that is not the story. The story is a story of people being afraid to go out, to even do their legitimate businesses. Today, it's difficult to even fly. No aviation fuel. The aviation fuel is no longer available. And yet, you cannot also fly by road because the kidnappers, the bandits are on the road. Nigeria is in a standstill. So having looked at all these scenarios and the reason behind why our colleagues walked out in the Senate, we're of the opinion that we'll also join them in the same way. They have given 6 to 8 weeks for Mr. President to address the insecurity that is, of course, affecting this nation. And I want to also join on behalf of my colleagues to say that upon the expiration, we will prefer ways of ensuring that we'll gather all the signatures. And let me make it very clear, those who are thinking that it's only issue of PDP or minority caucus, no. Many of our colleagues under the bipartisanship are affected.
It appears that the threat to impeach President Buhari is not supported by only lawmakers from opposition parties.
I think it would be wrong to say the opposition. It was a collective decision to give ultimatum. It was not the opposition. It was a collective decision of the Senate. Where the difference between what the opposition are eventually saying from what we said was that they wanted the senators to come to a conclusion that we are serving impeachment notice to Mr. President. But it's all about semantics. When we say we are giving you 6 weeks, you say no. Say you are giving him, you are serving this, you are giving him notice of impeachment. If we say we give you 6 weeks, what is the implication of that? After 6 weeks, what happened? Notice. You come and sit down and start discussing.
Another federal lawmaker, Senator Gershom Bassey, speaks on the ultimatum by opposition lawmakers.
The point of our action is not impeachment. It is to ensure safety and security in Nigeria. And that is why we have given a 6-week threshold within which we want the executive, particularly Mr. President, to do something about security in our country. Now, our best hope is that the President will respond to what we are saying, to what we are doing. And at the end of 6 weeks, everything would have been sorted out. The security situation, to a large extent, would have been resolved. And that is the point of our action. So it is part 1 that should be the focus, not so much part 2. Part 2 happens when we fail to achieve part 1. In other words, if there is insecurity, continued insecurity, without the type of response that we expect within 6 weeks, then we move to part 2.
The Senate has proceeded on its annual summer holiday to resume on September 20th, meaning the 6-week ultimatum will elapse while the National Assembly is on recess. According to Section 143 of the 1999 Constitution, 1/3 of lawmakers in each chamber is required to sign a notice of allegation in writing to begin the impeachment process against the president, and 2/3 majority of lawmakers in each chamber is required to move a motion that the allegation necessitating impeachment be investigated. You're welcome back to the Gavel. Let's take a look at more major happenings in the National Assembly during the week.
The Senate has resolved to summon the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, to explain to lawmakers the reasons for the rapid depreciation of the value of the Naira. It has also mandated its Committee on Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions to assess the impact of the CBN intervention funds meant to support critical sectors of the economy. The upper chamber took these resolutions when federal legislators considered a motion on the states of the CBN intervention funds and free fall of the Naira. The sponsor of the motion, Senator Olubunmi Adetunbi, bemoans Nigeria's economic challenges and calls for extraordinary measures to address them.
The Senate is further concerned that, as at yesterday, the exchange rate in the autonomous segment PDC of the foreign exchange market was 670 Naira to the United States dollar. And we are told that this afternoon, the figure has gone up to 716 Naira to a dollar. The Senate further notes that the CBN should take new measures to curb foreign scarcity and address the sliding rate of Naira exchange. Accordingly, the Senate resolves, 1, to call on the Central Bank of Nigeria to urgently intervene to stop the rapid decline in the value of the Naira vis-a-vis the dollar and other international currencies. 2, that the Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions should conduct an assessment of the Central Bank intervention funds and the declining value of the Naira to come up with sustainable solutions.
Mr. President, there's failure here. Someone should be able to say, I have failed, and that is the CBN. Because this is another round tripping that we witnessed many years back. Most of what is happening is because people are taking out the dollar and selling and bringing back in again. And we cannot run this economy on that sort of thing. Coupled with the fact that insecurity is making the issue worse. It is not because people are not producing alone. It is because we are not taking charge. When you are put in charge of the economy, you must be able to do the best for it.
So help me God.
Meanwhile, a bill to ensure non-partisanship of the top officials of the Central Bank of Nigeria, including the CBN governor, deputy governors and directors, has scaled second reading in the House of Representatives. The bill is seeking their removal from office should they become partisan.
A person shall not remain a governor, deputy governor, or director of the bank if he is a member of a political party or a partisan or involved in partisan politics. Why did I do this? Today, the credibility of CBN in custody of sensitive election materials is being questioned.
The bill scales second reading, while a motion calling on the federal government to halt the proposed ban on motorcycles suffers defeat following an appeal by the deputy speaker.
There is no community that one attack or the other that will happen that you will not have an intel. And this is part of the intel that they have given as to what is going to happen or might be happening. And so we have to cooperate with government. You cannot imagine what is happening today in Abuja. I'll be frank with you. I went through DSS report. 44 reports were given before the attack of Kuje.
The mover of the motion, Representative Abubakar Yalman, had praised the House to urge the federal government restrict the ban to local governments where banditry and terrorism are rife, saying a total ban would affect the well-being and welfare of Nigerians if palliative measures are not put in place. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila, was absent at plenary during the week. However, in the past few days, he has been the subject of an alleged impeachment plot over the controversial Water Resources Bill. According to online reports, the Northern Caucus of the House plans to impeach the Speaker to allow the passage of the Water Resources Bill, which was killed in the 8th Senate and earlier this year in the House of Representatives, for seeking to bring all water resources in the country under the control of the federal government. The leader of the Northern Caucus in the House moves a motion of privilege debunking the impeachment claims.
This is a figment of imagination. It has never happened anywhere. And it is an attempt to divide this country along ethnic, religious, and tribal lines, which I think we should grow over that by now.
Members will be given copies. Let them go and read, go through. When issues even regarding as to whether governor sanction or whatever, they will set the procedure of the House, and that was the ruling of the Speaker was going to be followed strictly.
We don't even know where we are, whether today or even before we leave, here may be invaded. That should be our concern. The issue of whether thank God Musa said it, whoever that is dreaming about it, it remains a dream.
The matter is then referred to the Committee on Ethics and Privileges for further investigation.
Now, this is where we call it a day on this week's edition of The Gavel. If you have any views on any of the issues discussed, please email us on thegavel@channelstv.com. Thank you for staying with us and see you again next week.